Imagine being locked up in prison, yet still having the power to ignite the internet with a single podcast episode. If you thought that a 28-year prison sentence would mean that your life was over, think again. This is the story of Suge Knight, a business tycoon that made the music industry bend to its knees. Nowadays, everyone and their mother has a podcast. But Suge Knight exposes never-before-heard shocking industry secrets. There is a whole lot of Suge Knight mythology. He definitely leans into this. He knows he's scary. His reputation speaks for itself. But some of it's fake, and a whole lot more of it is real. So let's do a quick recap to understand who we're dealing with. You know, it was just a typical day for Suge. He'd put his pants on one leg at a time, and then start the day off by beating up a promoter and forcing him to drink urine. But to provide more context as to why this was just normal Suge behavior, apparently when this incident was going down, the employees just continued filing papers like nothing was happening. The employees would just hear the screams down the hall. And HR was just like, yup, that's normal. Productivity's up, company's doing well, let's keep it going. If you were an artist on death row, you should be warned that Suge was real romantic. He loved you so much that he wouldn't let you leave. And I'm just keeping it real, there was a high likelihood you might get hurt if you ever tried to leave. Mafia intimidation tactics were pretty common. So I think we can all agree that Suge really didn't have a healthy relationship with his artists. There were always rumors about Suge hiring hitmen, but now he's on an extensive timeout. So maybe he can reflect on being a better dude. Suge, if you ever see this, please don't eat me. In 1992, Suge had an attempted murder charge. He was allegedly involved in orchestrating a shooting of 2 different people. But this case was eventually dismissed. Alright, now we're going through a rapid fire round. Suge got shot at a party with Chris Brown. Suge went to jail for almost a year for punching a dude outside a nightclub. Suge Knight also sued Kanye West for getting shot in the leg. Alright, let's break it down. This was before the MTV Music Awards. We were talking 2005. Paris Hilton was there, because, of course, why not? Surprisingly, no shooter was ever arrested. But witnesses confirmed that 6 rounds were shot. And Suge's right leg kinda hurt, so...
You know, I got shot in my hand at the short club.
Kanye West was sued by Suge Knight for negligence. And medical bills, and alleged lost jewelry. So basically Suge was claiming that Kanye was a bad party host, and that there really wasn't enough security. But here's a thought, and again, maybe I'm stepping way over the line for saying this, but maybe reflect inward as to why so many people want to shoot you. I just think you have some stuff you gotta work through, and I'm here if you ever need help. Alright, I need to get this out of the way. If anything happens to me, I think we know who is responsible. I'm happy, I'm healthy, and I'm not going to delete myself. Just had to let the people know. But Suge, I hate to break it to you, you're not special, you're not the only one. I had to issue a similar disclaimer for the Nicki Minaj fans because they were really coming for me. There are only 3 things I fear. God, Suge Knight, and Nicki Minaj fans. Alright, back to our regularly scheduled program. We already know Suge's been busy beating up people in the death row offices for years. There's this one scene in the Straight Outta Compton movie where Suge forces Eazy-E to sign over his rights with a violent altercation. And while there are conflicting reports on whether this was a beatdown or Suge just pulled weapons on him, I think it's really clear that the janitors in the death row building really had their work cut out for them every night. Every day the stains on the floor must have been a new surprise. The real heroes of the story are the minimum wage cleaning crew. Speaking of Eazy-E though, the most insane thing I've ever witnessed that was live television was Suge Knight's appearance on Jimmy Kimmel. On this show, Suge Knight strongly implied that he was involved in Eazy-E's demise. Eazy-E passed away from AIDS. But here Suge was, on live TV, talking about sticking people with disease-contaminated blood needles. And he made sure to name drop Eazy-E so everyone knew exactly what he was alluding to.
It's real simple. You know, man, I love your show. I like what you're doing. Really.
Thank you.
Right? That's why I came here. Fresh out of jail, I'll come to check you out, right?
Right.
Why the bulletproof vest?
Oh, it's not. Oh, no, that's just. It's the new style. You've been in the can for a while. This is what everybody. That's what all the talk show hosts are wearing.
This is a new thing, right?
Yeah.
See, if somebody going to do something about it, see, technology is so high, right?
Right.
So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. So the kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? Right. So they got this new thing out there. People sell them all the time. They got this stuff they get blood from somebody with AIDS. Yeah. And then they shoot you with it.
Oh, so that seems bad.
That's a slow death.
Yeah.
An easy thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay. Way to lighten the mood. Yeah.
Wow. Well, Suge's terror alert level just went from elevated to high.
For most of his life, Suge was just acting like a comic book villain. This interview gave me chills. Jimmy Kimmel was freaking out. He was visibly distressed on live TV. But Suge's just calmly sitting there, lighting up like he owns the place. And if there ever was a moment to summarize the reign of Suge Knight, this would be it. Again, no one necessarily knows if what he's saying is true, but you don't want to stick around to find out. You don't really want to be his friend because you'd be involved in some stuff, but you really, really do not want to be his enemy. But the one thing people don't say enough about Suge is that he will say absolutely anything to stay relevant. He has no problem leaning into the most outlandish conspiracy theories because he loves his mystique. In one conversation, he'll be talking about knowing Tupac's murderers, but then in the same conversation, he'll switch over and say Tupac is alive in Cuba.
Happen, right?
Right.
If you think about it, right?
Right.
Why you think nobody been arrested if they said they the one killed Tupac?
Because they're snitching to the police, so they ain't gonna get arrested.
Not just to snitch and be smart, son. Because Tupac not
ain't
dead.
as smart as you should be.
Tupac not dead. If he was dead, they'd be arresting those dudes for murder. You know he's somewhere smoking a Cuban cigar on the island somewhere.
Right now.
You know what I mean?
He's not always a reliable narrator, but people do look to him now as a truth teller. He actually has a cult following from jail. A lot of individuals in YouTube comments idolize him as the smart businessman that was calculated and planned every move. But I think that a lot of people forget that a lot of his business ventures were just brute force. If you're like me and you're a fan of hip-hop, you've probably also heard of that one story where Suge Knight held Vanilla Ice by his ankles and threatened him, forcing him to sign over the rights to his song Ice Ice Baby. This was not good. People theorize that he's somehow connected to the demise of Biggie Smalls and Tupac, even though he was sitting in the same car where they were both attacked.
You'll have a 90 motherfucker walk down the street and said Suge Knight killed Tupac. When everybody know off the top, I ain't the nigga killed Tupac, I'm the nigga protected Tupac. Yeah. But at the same time, bitch ass Puffy can give him a motherfucking star, and every rat in the world said he didn't want to kill Tupac. Yeah. Or had him shot. Yeah. You know what I mean? But
Suge also got real mad at Dr. Dre when he tried to leave the label. You know, threatened to make him disappear. Classic Suge behavior, all of that, you know. Kind of cliche at this point. Way too played out. But Suge would also show up at these award ceremonies and just threaten talent. He'd do anything to make you leave your label and come to him. The 1995 Source Awards comes to mind. This is one of the major reasons as to why the East Coast-West Coast beef started.
Like to tell Tupac, keep his guards up, we ride with him.
Well, okay, that's a major oversimplification, but I really don't have time to talk about that in this video.
And one other thing I'd like to say, any artist out there want to be an artist and want to stay a star, and don't want to have to worry about the executive producer trying to be all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row.
As I was saying, Suge Knight will do anything to acquire talent. He even allegedly ambushed Eminem with a full entourage. And this was in literal Hawaii when Eminem was trying to leave a plane. If there's one thing Hawaii's known for, it's not this. Our story begins in Compton. Suge Knight was born in 1965. But where did it all go wrong? Well, I got a couple of theories. Suge was always a big dude. He was 6'2" and over 260 pounds. So the next logical step was he decided to play football. He actually got a scholarship. And he was such a thick boy. Ironically, he was a defensive end. And he later productively channeled the skill set in his next role. This aggression and protective instinct made him a great bodyguard. As a result, he became a security guard for musicians in the industry. Conveniently, his football injury led to this new career path. Now, developmentally, being a football player is a great way to get your brain rattled. But Suge wasn't just any football player. He played for the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. the city of sin. And it's possible that some of these foundational memories in Vegas shaped the Suge we know today. Later in 1991, Suge founded Death Row Records with Dr. Dre. After signing Snoop Dogg and Tupac, the label cemented its legacy. Suge went from football player to bodyguard to mogul. And then he became a really violent motivational speaker. He was really persuasive. But like them or not, the influence of Death Row was undeniable. Snoop Dogg's tasteful album Doggy Style sold over 11 million units. And remember, this was when people had to actually buy CDs. Dr. Dre's The Chronic was an instant classic that sold 6 million copies. And behind the scenes, I think everyone was painfully aware that Suge knew how the sausage was made. After Tupac tragically passed away, Suge ran into financial trouble. And to make matters worse for Suge, Dr. Dre miraculously escaped from the label. Now, Suge wasn't very happy about this, but Dre would later go on to sign Eminem, help 50 Cent, and Kendrick Lamar. In my opinion, when Dr. Dre left the label, it was the beginning of the end. Suge no longer had his finger on the pulse of the culture. But now we have to fast forward to today. After a hit-and-run incident, Suge has found himself in jail. He was later sentenced to 28 years in prison. And that's what brings us here today. You would think that if Suge was locked away for decades, you wouldn't be hearing from him for a long time. But honestly, you couldn't be more wrong. Suge cannot be silenced. And it's going to take a lot more than prison walls to stop him from expressing his truth. In fact, there's no way to make him shut up. He just keeps going.
Man. And he complain all the time. He's not a man, he's a bitch. Just tell him, shut up. Right off the top. If you go have dinner with a man, and you getting steak and lobster, and say, oh, this smell good, this look good. Well, people say, if. I say, well, you know, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. And now,
Suge Knight is a relic from the 90s. Someone desperately trying to cling to the spotlight, while presumably a lot of the world has moved on. Why is the production value for this podcast actually insane? It's unreal that Suge is able to consistently pull this off. It's hard not to imagine that Suge has some kind of savior complex. There's a lot of things I don't know about this world. Maybe I don't understand the prison industrial complex. Or maybe I don't understand our criminal justice system. But I was told, from a young age, that when you live your life as a mobster and run a borderline crime syndicate, then hit someone with a car and they don't get up, it might be a lot harder to find business opportunities. Come to find out that I guess my parents and role models were just lying to me too. Suge Knight is living proof that the American dream is alive and well. Name another man that has orange jumpsuit slumber parties every night and still hasn't reached his prime. He might be the purest embodiment of self-determination, passion, and pure grit. Concrete walls have killed many people's dreams, but not Suge, never Suge. In reality, these institutional boundaries actually just helped Suge develop his truest passion and find his real voice in art.
let's get this real money. Let's own some real estate and let's get along. But y'all still tearing each other down.
He took any hard circumstance and flipped it to an opportunity. Now there's another podcast on the internet. But not only is Suge transcending boundaries, he's also crossing generational divides.
I'm Legend Knight. And this is Collect Call with my dad, Suge Knight.
Without his son, none of this would be possible.
History will be made on Collect Call with my dad, Suge Knight. What you are about to hear is conversations, raw and uncut, about the life of my father and our family legacy moving forward, and his wisdom and experiences over time. He will be honest, vulnerable, and express his state of mind with you on this podcast series.
His son is a vessel to deliver these gospel words to the masses, from the luxurious comfort of his gaming chair, and tell the story of his noble father, a righteous man, a dreamer who built an empire that crumbled to sand.
We will be answering everything that you guys want to know. No filter and no lies. History will be made on Collect Call with my dad, Suge Knight. Love you, twin.
But in that sand, Suge paved a legacy, and every episode hundreds of thousands of people wait to hear a mythologized rendition of the past. There's a beautiful harmony as Suge passes the torch to his next of kin. Suge will allegedly be talking about hurting some dudes, and his son will just have the biggest smile on his face introducing the segment. It's some good old fun, classic father-son bonding. And this twisted relationship gives me a lot of hope. Suge Knight's child guides us into a portal of the 90s. But what's particularly wild to me is that he's talking on the internet decades later to a generation of new kids across the country who probably have no frame of reference for LA street life other than GTA. Suge Knight is definitely an acquired taste. And it's no secret that celebrity parents have different attitudes about bringing their children into the spotlight. But this man decided to legally name his co-host Legend Knight. Those are some crazy expectations to put on a child, even though it could be self-empowering. I don't know about you, but I'm just gonna name my kid something like Noah or Eli, unless I want that child to have some extra character development. Then he's getting a name like Dick or Richard. But for that one child that accidentally bullies Suge Knight's kid, that might be the one time in human history where we actually feel bad for the bully. I hate to be that guy, but I gotta point it out. He talks about this being raw, uncut, with no filter. But then in the same moment, he's using the stagnant AI filter to distort his face. It's a little eerie. His face is moving, but then the rest of his body is just this still image. And so if the background and persona are all fake, I just find it epic that this kid decided to host his dad's podcast from the most epic gamer man cave. He gets editorial control. That's probably his end of the bargain. It's this really wholesome, endearing intro. And the drama from Suge's life is a crazy contrast. This room is fully decked out. Kid has multiple gaming setups in the same area. It's like the mission control center of a spaceship launch. One of the main takeaways is that in this podcast, you get to know the real Suge. You get to see the man behind the mask. You get to enter the psyche of one of America's most wanted criminals. And just as you're learning about industry exploitation and hip-hop history, you'll realize that even revolutionary podcasts from jail have some annoying-ass ad reads.
Submit a picture of your bill and rock.
Suge will be telling you about hip-hop prophecies and the Diddy conspiracies behind Tupac's murder. Then suddenly some other annoying AI voice will be talking about some meal prep service that you absolutely need to buy.
Chef.com/Suge. That's homechef.com/Suge.
No. Wait.
Homechef.com/Suge for 18 free meals.
And then you're actually just thinking to yourself, what, is Suge Knight getting like DoorDash or Grubhub in prison? How the hell is he validating these products? What does he know that we don't? If you've made it this far in the video, please consider hitting that red button to give me that dopamine. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to be adopted by Suge Knight. There's definitely a lot of pros, and he's definitely a con. Alright, so as I just demonstrated, I think these ad breaks really kill the momentum of a story.
Boy, being out in this beautiful weather can come home to a quick and delicious meal. My fiance Brett lives for Mexican food. So far, she's been raving about the one-pan turkey burrito skillet.
All that I'm trying to say is that if you're a sponsor of Suge Knight's podcast, you are very brave. Now, okay, it's your business. You obviously know what you're doing. I just understand why people have questions about what that says about your product.
Chef.com/Suge. That's homechef.com/Suge for 18 free meals and free dessert for life. You heard that right. homechef.com/Suge. Must be an active subscriber to receive free dessert.
Can we just agree it's crazy he has these AI ad breaks to begin with? So I guess we can thank Breakbeat Media for producing the podcast.
This is Dave Mays, CEO of Breakbeat Media.
Also, feel free to catch Suge on Spotify and Apple Music. According to his podcast producer, Suge actually has access to a tablet from prison. Therefore, he can even watch videos. And this guy gets free meals and a bed? Oh my God.
All my days is great. But what make today so special, I'm over here enjoying some double strawberry ice cream. You know,
there's a lot we can learn from Suge Knight's story. Who knew he was a big Doja Cat and Cardi B fan? In a Rolling Stone article, Suge Knight states that his goal for the podcast is to contribute in a positive way to the culture and to the younger generation.
Besides that, it takes nothing for us to talk good about people. Gave people opportunities because I felt I was blessed to be able to have a business, so I want to return the favor and give people opportunities. I'd rather be able to take out my time and think about something they did good.
But in some ways, he also wants to redeem himself. While incarcerated, Suge wants to still defend himself from false accusations. The wildest part, though, is that Suge knows how to build an audience. And there's actually an interactive Q&A with fans. They take internet comments and give Suge the opportunity to engage with the public.
Call with Suge Knight. Suge and I both want to hear from you. So if you have any questions or input, please be sure to contact us at Breakbeat Media. Authentically hip-hop. Welcome to Collect Call with Suge Knight.
And something I need to point out, his fans absolutely worship him. Not only do they celebrate his business achievements, but they commend his honesty. Suge will even be talking about modern current events like Trump and Kanye. I don't know who could have predicted this, but Suge is actually really based on certain things. He's talking about workers' rights, industry corruption, and advocating for the people.
I always told myself I worked hard to become who I want to become. And if I ever made it, I was going to come back and give my people jobs and help them any way I can.
Maybe this is partially just a way to avoid any accountability and responsibility for his actions, but Suge claims that he's a product of the system. He directs blame to large corporations and industry executives. And loyalty was one of the things that Suge valued the most. If someone did a favor for Suge, he'd find a way to repay them. But also, if Suge did something for you, you should probably do something for him. And get ready for this. Suge's also said that Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and Diddy are all in some super secret spooky society. Now, given Diddy's track record, honestly nothing would surprise me. Diddy has been working really hard this year to convince me that he is deserving of the Worst Person of All Time award. But I think it's easy to speculate about secret societies. I just want to point out how these are all just conveniently Suge's enemies. So take it with a grain of salt. Sadly, Suge hasn't always evolved with the times. There's some light homophobia baked into his conspiracy theories. Apparently in this alleged secret society, you paint your nails, and you might rock some women's clothing. I honestly thought a guy like Suge wouldn't be afraid of anything. It turns out I couldn't be more wrong. Suge basically stated that once you wear female clothing and paint your nails, they got you. Let me get this straight. So Suge is imagining a world where the most powerful, influential force behind the music industry is just this gay cult trying to spread the big gay, and they got to Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre? What are we even talking about here? You think that if the LGBT community really controlled everything, they wouldn't have waited till 2014 to make sure that everyone can get married? No, they were a historically marginalized group. Make it make sense. Oh my god. On the podcast, Suge also believes that Diddy is an FBI informant. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is this logo deliberate, or is it just generative AI messing up text? Is it supposed to be wall art? Someone let me know what this is. If this is generative AI having an aneurysm, it's wild they just left it in there. And there's more to cover in another video, but I'm gonna just leave it here. Follow the madness.
Because you might be to the age where you leaving this world, because we're all going to leave here. Nobody's going to leave here alive.
Okay, you know what? That's actually a really dark way to end the video. I'm going to just bless you with one of Suge's positive affirmations.
But besides that, it takes nothing for us to talk good about people.